Okay, we're going to discuss how to FTP using the FTP program called FileZilla. It's available for both Mac and Windows. It's free and it's somewhat easy to use, but we're just going to go through this demo so you get a better understanding. So you can access the FTP program through the module 4, which is preparing files for FTP. And you'll see on the first page, what is FTP? There will be a link to several FTP programs that are all free. And you can click on this bottom link here, FileZilla Client, and you'll want to download the client version. So it should show you your operating system, and then you'll want to go with the free one here. And then once you click download, you can install that on your computer and you'll be ready to go. So the goal of FTP is to transfer your files from your computer to a public server so that anyone with access to the URL can view your web page. For this course, we're going to be using valenciawebstudio.com. So from this homepage, if you go to that URL, you'll navigate to your class and you'll click on Students. And I'm using an example student here. So you'll see there's a list of links with 2 exercises. So we have 4 modules, a couple extra folders. And then we have project 1 with a list of links and project 2 with a list of links to each stage of the project. For this tutorial, we're going to practice uploading files to the P1A folder for comps for project 1. So let's go ahead and FTP. Once you've downloaded and installed FileZilla, you can launch the program. This is what the icon looks like. And this will be the interface that you're going to see. At the top, you'll see a box for a quick connect. It'll ask you for the host, a username, a password, and a port. And you can find all that information on the FTP module. On the very last page, you'll see your FTP login. And so we've listed the web host or server here. You can either copy it or you can type it in manually. If you're typing it in manually, make sure you double check the spelling. That's one of the common errors. If you experience any errors with logging in, so just double check that everything was spelled correctly. The username is going to be some version of your last name, 2141@valenciawebstudio.com. It'll be listed in the list of usernames below. Because we have multiple users from different classes and some of you may have the same last name or different nuances, make sure that you check the list below for your exact username. And then the password will be listed here as well. And for the port, you can put 21 and we'll do quick connect. It'll ask you if you want to save any passwords. Since we're just doing a tutorial, I'll select do not save. And if you get this unknown certificate message, just go ahead and check always trust the certificate in future sessions and then click OK. So you'll know that you've successfully connected because you should see a file structure here on the bottom that looks very similar to the links that are listed on the Valencia Web Studio site. If you have experienced any issues logging in, for example, if you get an error message using these credentials, double check that everything is spelled correctly. We do create these usernames and these logins manually, so there could be human error involved. Just also note that there are a limited number of login attempts before the server will lock you out. So only try a few times, and then if you're still experiencing issues and you've double checked everything, reach out to your instructor for some help. So once you see this folder structure, which correlates to the Valencia Web Studio links, we're going to go ahead and gather our files so that we can FTP. So I've created a demo folder called Web Design, and I've put my project nested into project 1 folder for P1A. So I'm going to go through here and just double click this and view it in the browser, make sure everything looks correct. I have my homepage comp and my subpage comp, which are just 2 JPEGs, and everything looks good. I'm also going to double check my naming conventions. So I want to make sure that I have an index.html file that's lowercase because I know the browser is going to look for this file. And my images are nested in an images folder. Everything is lowercase. My styles for CSS are in another folder labeled CSS, and there are no spaces in anything. And then I'm also going to double check for relative links. So if I open this in my text editor, I'm going to look to make sure that I'm using relative file paths. And what that means is I just want to make sure that the image links or any other links that I'm referencing are relative to the containing folder. So I know that this is just looking for the CSS folder and the styles.css document, which is nested in the same folder. I'm not referencing any images that are outside of this P1A folder or any other files that may be like on my hard drive or somewhere else. Everything is contained into this folder. So everything looks good. So we're going to go ahead and FTP. So there are a couple ways you can do this. From here, you can navigate to your folder, which I know is on my desktop in the web design folder, and I'm going to go in P1A. It's also going to appear down here. And I'm just going to want to transfer the index.html file, the images folder, and the CSS folder. And then I can click and drag those. Oops. You want to make sure that you've selected the proper folder on the server too. So it'll say remote site here and it'll say local site here. Local site are the files that are on your computer, and then the remote site is the server that you've accessed, the Valencia Web Studio server. So we can just click and drag those over and you'll see that it's processing right now. It'll give you a status down below. So it looks like everything transferred successfully, and we can double check that by going to the Valencia Web Studio site. And we're going to click on this P1A file. Yep, and it looks like everything's there. I don't see any broken image links, and everything looks great. It did access the index.html file, so that all looks good. If you do experience any issues, you can go through a few troubleshooting tips that we've listed in the FTP module. So if you go to the troubleshooting page, you'll see a list of common errors. The most common one that I see is that the index.html file is capitalized or the I is capitalized. You want to make sure everything is lowercase. Also, you'll want to also note that the images must be exported for web or optimized. You do get a quota of 100 megabytes for the entire semester. So you want to make sure that your images are optimized for web and are not taking up too much space. You'll know if they're too large just by the fact that when you load this page, if it loads slowly, your images may be too large. A few other things to note that if you are updating files that you've already FTP'd and you're seeing an older version of the page and you're just replacing those files, and it may be showing you an older version of the site. So in other words, it could be showing you a cached version of the page. So you'll want to do a hard refresh, and you can do that by holding down the Shift key and then clicking the refresh button on the browser window. And then it should pull the latest files from the server and show you the latest version. If you can't figure it out or you are still stuck or you're getting an error message, just make a note of it and reach out to your instructor so that we can help you troubleshoot. And then once everything is all ready to go and you want to submit your assignment or submit this to a discussion area, you can copy this URL here, which is the public URL on the Valencia Web Studio server. And then you can copy and paste this into the discussion or the assignment area.